Don here. Hey, you know how much I love buying gold at the kiosk? I also love buying costume jewelry, but you need to know a few things before you sell your costume jewelry. Like, for instance, see this stunning diamond and emerald bracelet? Well, it's costume jewelry. But what makes this special is it's in such perfect condition, and it's made by Measure. You may have heard me mention that in other programs, but Measure is a famous costume jewelry manufacturer. But look how awesome it is. And if you look at the green stones, the emeralds, they simulate genuine emeralds. They even have some imperfections in them to imitate genuine emerald. They're absolutely magnificent bracelet. Now, the person I bought this from was offered $10 by a local flea market dealer. I paid $175 for this bracelet. It's wonderful. It's part of my permanent collection. By the way, when you're considering selling your costume jewelry, or when you're offering it to a dealer for sale, keep in mind condition with costume jewelry is so critical. Obviously, a famous maker like Miriam Haskell or Joseph Measure or even Coral Sterling Craft, that's all important, and some of the early Trifari. But you got to remember, condition is so important, because the person buying it is buying it for condition. Obviously, eye appeal, famous maker name, but condition is probably the most important single factor. Now, here's another neat one. Here's a butterfly. Animal brooches are very popular with collectors. You'll see mice, birds, and all that. This is a butterfly made by Pell, and that's a pretty good name in costume jewelry. But notice, all the stones are in place. Very little discoloration in the rhinestone. That's a common thing that happens to rhinestone, okay? But just a very pretty little brooch. The bigger, the better when it comes to costume jewelry in many instances. The big, gaudy, garish brooches are much more desirable than the small pieces, you know, if they're made by the same maker. Now, speaking of butterflies, this one's spectacular. This one's a motion piece, and this is made by Hattie Carnegie. A very unusual piece because it's in such awesome condition. It's made on springs, the wings, so they can move a bit, and it's in just flawless mint condition. Wonderful brooch. And again, there are people that, if you go out there to, say, the flea market, or the people that come to your garage sale, they're going to try to buy this for $5, $10. This is about a $200 brooch, part of my permanent collection. All right, so keep that in mind whenever you have costume jewelry for sale. Listen, truthfully, most costume jewelry that gets brought to the kiosk is things like Avon and Sarah Coventry, and unfortunately, not much of a market for that. But you know what? You just might have one of these very special pieces, and hope you'll feel comfortable bringing it into the kiosk. Airport Plaza Jewelry is a kiosk, so we can evaluate it correctly and assess it for the right amount.